it's only a matter of time.
The next stop on my trip was Rockhampton. At times last year, more of the kookaburras came from the town of Rockhampton than from certain states in Australia. So with such a proud history and present success, how did it all start?
Well, hockey started in 1929 and it was at the drill shed in Archer Street, Rockhampton. And come about, there was army teams training there, and they had playing hockey with sticks and palins and a can. And one of the fellas got hurt, got a broken nose, and the doctor on duty was Dr. Talbot, and he wanted to know how it happened and why it happened. And he said uniforms and sticks would have to be bought for the two teams. He was patron there for a while, in the early days. So I think credit must be given to him many years ago for what he did for this association. The hockey was played at the drill shed on just an ordinary ground. There was no turf or like we got today, or even grass. There was stones and everything on. And it was run under the instructions of a man named O'Rourke. And in 1930, the first association was formed, and it was called the Central Queensland Hockey Association, which went on for about 3 or 4 years before it was changed to the Rockhampton Hockey Association. It was mainly Army, 11 Field Ambulance, and Hornets was the first team in Rockhampton, and they were formed in 1929. Wanderers was established in 1947. Southam was in 46, and Park Avenue come in 36. Rockhampton Schools were 1936. In the early days, hockey was played in many places. They played at Stableton Park, the Christian Brothers School, Central Boys School. One night they played at the Rockhampton Rugby League. There was a soccer match, a football match and a hockey match. It was one off for charity. Also, Stableton Park, then the cricket grounds, and then here. Well, we moved here to Calter Shades in 1963 after a lot of work. About Malik McLeod, he was on the council at the time, and he utilised the main roads department to clear the grounds, and you see what we have here today. There's 7 playing fields of turf. The buildings, the first building on the grounds was the O'Donnell building that used for social cricket. Hornets built their next building. The association built theirs, but have extended it a couple of times since then. And then Wanderers built theirs also on the grounds.
The association today is made up of 4 clubs, men and women from the A1 division right down to our little under 5s in boys and girls. The association in its modern day, the way you see it today, has been a long time in the making. It's been a culmination of lots and lots of ideas put together over many, many years, and we end up with the facility you see what we've got here today. Around about 25 years ago, the idea was touted that we actually look around and try and get a facility that our players in the future would be proud of. So the idea came up about the artificial surface. In those days it was sand-based and there was some water-based. So a committee then authorised myself and 2 other committee members to then do a bit of a roam around the state and have a look at some of the facilities, in which we did. Collie Hamilton and Ronnie Lauger were my cohorts in this, and we went round to 2 or 3 venues and come back to Rockhampton and reported and come up with the idea, yes, we can facilitate and generate the finances to build a very modern artificial surface, and that's what we've got out here today. The process from there was a lot of fundraising, selling bricks and mortar, encouraging people to get involved, and then we had to go through all the governmental departments and the city council, all the red tape. But the council come on board very, very strongly, because they could see that with a facility like this it would promote our area and the city of Rockhampton. We had a visit from the government and their sports administrators, and it was right over there in front of the existing clubhouse. And at that, before the turf, we had 7 fields here. So we as a committee devised a plan to really make this government department feel the heat. And that's exactly what we did. They wanted to talk about the turf over there in the shade under the clubhouse. But we didn't. We took a table out here in the middle of this paddock, boiling hot sun, and as they were walking out, they were wiping their brow and they're saying, "Wow, isn't this hot up here?" I said, "Yes, and that's the reason why we want an artificial surface. We want to get our kids out of the sun so they don't develop sun cancer and everything else." The government never even looked at the plans. They told us to fold the plans up, pick the table up, come back in the shade, we've got our grant. And over my time in the association here, we've had some real setbacks. One of the major ones was the fire to our equipment shed with everything we needed to run the association, our tractors, our lawn mowers, our line markers, because there was so many hours of fundraising and sweat and everything else that went into that. And it was devastating to know that somebody actually come along and deliberately lit the shed up. And that was a real concern to us about the isolation of our sheds and all our facilities down here at Calca Shades. But like a good association, our volunteers rekindled and we're back stronger than ever today. The banks, that was the second major setback that we've had. Mother Nature can be very cruel at times. The first flood actually just about went right inside. So we then had to come up with an idea of trying to reduce the likelihood of the water going onto our turf so we could really manage the situation. So the council come to the party with us and we built the levee banks around the outside of the turf, and the water comes up to the top of those turf, and the idea was if there was any water go into the turf we could pump it out over the walls again, and that's proved to be very, very successful. Our member base today with our 4 clubs is around about the 800 odd players, and that's across a population of around about the 71,000 people. So around about 25 years ago, something like that, we then see the need to progress further and give our players an opportunity to develop their skills to enhance the likelihood of progression to a higher place in hockey. Our first regional coaching director was Alan Sinclair, who was an Australian goalkeeper, and our second coaching director was one of our local boys, Neil Shearer. Going back a few years, we had an opportunity then to put another coaching director in place, was David McNeil. And David McNeil is now the coaching director up in Cairns. And between the 3 coaching directors, we learnt a lot, and where we are today, a very proud city boasting 4 Olympians, a lot of Australian places, a lot of national players, and we've got lots more on the way. There must be something around this area that helps them achieve their goals. In every one of those athletes, I've seen a desire to achieve things, train hard, and always have the ability to take in anything that's been asked of them. But further to that, I think it's just the larrikin country lad. And round Rockhampton here, we're the beef capital of Australia, that's what they say. Whether it's the beef, the water, or our artificial surface, or just the damn good running of the association by the committee, we are producing athletes at the highest level, and I believe our future will continue to do so.
The hard bit starts when we start looking at the future planning for Rockhampton hockey, and in the short term we're looking at increasing our player base, so we want more kids to come along and play, and those adults that haven't played for a few years and want to come back and have another go, the door's always open. Longer term we'd like to see new club rooms, upgrade of our current canteen and cafe facility and bar area, upgrade that, possibly look at going to a second story and have a grandstand and a viewing platform out the front to increase the whole experience for our spectators and players alike. And we currently have 23 players that sit within Hockey Queensland's shadow at the moment that need a bit more work to get them to that next level. And then we've also got the new ones that are coming along every year. We sign on new 4 and 5 year olds that only want to take Jamie and Mark's place as well. and that's where we see the future of our sport, is getting these young ones on board and really having them enjoy the game and making and meeting new friends every week when they come along. Want to go to the Olympics? If you want to be in the next Jamie Dwyer, come along and see us at Rockhampton Hockey. We're only happy to help and make your Saturday mornings a pleasure.
Next week I travel further up the coast to find out more about the history of hockey in Queensland.
Only a matter of time.